Well, Bradford Ferguson is so in love with his Cybertruck that he just can't get out of it. It's after a week away with his family, not seeing his Cybertruck when he got home, they just can't get him out. How you doing?
You can't get me out of this. Yeah, I got a new phone. I was in San Diego as Randy and I talked about. Um, and I went for a little swim in San Diego Bay with my phone on my chest. So I was
Nice.
on a jet ski and I got a new phone and couldn't get into the office after hours tonight. So here I am.
So that's the explanation. I see.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're joining you via Zoom in my Cybertruck.
That's not bad. Not bad at all. With your new phone and everything.
Exactly.
So I was mentioning to you that my X feed and my everything feed is just filled up with everybody wanting to figure out what is going to happen because you see, Elon said all that matters is robotaxi. And then I've been saying, and then Nick on Tuesday, he goes, yeah, what do we care about the numbers? Who cares about any of that stuff anymore? All we care about is robotaxi. So since that seems to be what everybody wants to talk about, I thought you and I could just kind of speculate about as much of what we can think that we have anything even remotely intelligent to say. So the number one question everybody has is, of course, what do we think is going to happen on 10/10? We saw a picture today. I think Tesla put out some kind of a little weird, I could not make heads or tails of that picture. Were you able to make heads or tails of that picture?
I didn't see it, so I'll pull that up while we're talking.
It was on, yeah, it was on the website. I think
describe it, Randy.
It was just looked like an aluminum box or a steel box of some kind. It was just kind of an odd. I should have brought it along.
And what was the context?
That something that's going to happen on 10/10. I mean, it was related to 10/10. Sawyer Merritt had it up, so you could look at Sawyer's.
I'll have to check that out.
But so everybody, we're all assuming that there's obviously going to be a cyber cab. Because that's why we delayed it. So if we're going to delay it, we must be going to see some kind of a cyber cab. I don't think that's debatable. The design, the look, the materials, and all the rest of it, I think people have talked about all of those possibilities, but I haven't heard anything that would give anybody a heads up on any more information on that. Have you?
As far as what it looks like?
What it's made out of, what it looks like, whether it's 2-seater, 4-seater.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything more. To me, it'd make the most sense if it's a 2-seater, that it wouldn't have a like a center console. So that would make it a little more narrow. And that gives you room for putting stuff in the back. Most rideshare rides are one person. So I think that'd be fine. And then the rest of your Tesla models are for 3 or more people.
Okay. And I've been saying, and I wasn't the first.
I think it'll look cool though.
Okay.
So they're going to make it look cool. So like people will want to be seen getting into this. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Sorry about that. Go ahead, Randy.
So some kind of a very cool exterior look, like a Cybertruck that will be not necessarily anything cyber, but some kind of a cool exterior that will make people look. All right. So then I've been saying, and I didn't invent this idea. I do take claim for many things, but not this one, is that the interior will be designed around experience. That the whole idea will be, how can we give people a great experience in this vehicle? How about that?
Yeah, ultimately, I think it should be all about entertainment. Like, how can you have the most fun in your car? Within within societal norms and all that. But how can you have the most fun in your car? So I'd imagine you want to have screens on the car.
Yeah.
You want to be able to see outside so you don't get motion sick. But
Mhm.
so I don't think you like make it so there's no windows. Um, but yeah, you want to have nice screens, make it feel like a cool experience and relaxing. So the seat should be relaxing yet safe.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. So then the next element that people are spending maybe the most time of the time talking about is when does Tesla pull the switch? When do they say it can be unsupervised? We know we still have to finish the features. We got to have reverse, we got to have summon, all those, but those are supposedly coming like any day. So assuming that those come and that they work, they're not like the windshield wipers, but they actually function. Once I call it feature complete, um, how safe does it have to be? We're seeing safety things from Cern. I did a whole video today with Cern, and he believes that the Cybertruck is our, I mean, the Cybertruck, the robotaxis, our own vehicles right now with FSD are down to something like one accident per 1,000,000 miles, and half of those would be caused by the other driver. So how much safer do we have to be than that in order to turn it on?
Well, that's for highway, and that's for supervised FSD. So you're still having safety critical interventions with 12.5.1.1.
Is that what you have
Um,
now?
uh, but like on a good day, this is what Omar has. I think I have that too on an X. Um, so like on a good day, you don't have any safety critical interventions. I haven't had any yet on 12.5 dot anything.
Uh-huh.
Um, but other people have. And what a safety critical intervention means is you're hitting the brakes or you're taking over to prevent an accident situation where someone's going to have to swerve pretty drastically in order to avoid an accident. I think you need to get it where that doesn't happen for someone in a full year, or you get to that kind of rate fleet wide, and the data is just not there yet. It might be above a safety critical above 500 miles per safety critical intervention now.
Uh-huh.
But I think bare minimum, I know this sounds low, but like it needs to be 15,000 miles.
Okay.
But then you'd be having like accidents every day on the robotaxi. So like
Well, that's
I think it needs to be way above that.
but now you're
Um,
but even when you say that, and I like your conservative, viewpoint, even when you say 15,000 safety, or I mean one safety intervention every 15,000 miles, some of those wouldn't have caused an accident.
right. And the other car could swerve too,
Yes.
or like slam on the brakes.
Right.
Um,
And that happens to us anyway. I mean, I can't tell
yeah,
you, almost a common occurrence, to have somebody pulling into your lane, or you accidentally start to pull over into theirs, or, and then they're honking and you get back in your lane. So, I mean, this is not that's significantly different than
and that's at least once a year that it happens, right?
yeah, well, way more than once a year.
So, yeah, you probably don't even need to get to 15,000 miles on a safety critical intervention. So we're getting close. Um, I think by the end of the year it could be unsupervised, and I'm curious, like at that point, where accidents would shake out.
Yeah.
I saw someone got in an accident with their Tesla but they weren't using FSD.
Yeah, yeah,
They turned off FSD, and then they got in an accident.
yeah, yeah. This is, yeah, so that's that. And so I suppose there's a possibility. First of all, we've gone through all these different levels. Would we maybe have a situation where the regular, we lost you? Are you
Yeah,
completely?
we're fine. I'll get you back.
Just your
My
video.
car was falling asleep.
I see. Okay, we can't have that. Um, we could have a situation where maybe Tesla decides to let the regular first round drivers go unsupervised first.
Yeah, I think that would make sense for sure.
And
To
they
do
could get
that.
some, we could get some miles out of those first, so we get the, what do you call it? The employees that normally get it, they get unsupervised for
Yeah.
a while. Then you give the unsupervised to the first level of drivers, like they normally roll things out, and then maybe a larger sampling. And so now you get a lot of data back to decide whether it's okay to go out the next level.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you would start off with unsupervised, but in the driver's seat.
Okay.
So I think this would still be, I don't know, technically level 3. So like the car could, yell at you so that you take over.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this picture, and I don't know if this is what people are saying. It looks like, so I have a Cybertruck.
Right. Yeah. You're
Um,
sitting in one.
yeah, and I don't think it'll show on this, but
Okay.
let's see. Yeah, it's like
No, it's reflecting.
it's just straight up not showing it. There we go.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now you can see it. Yeah.
So you got the corner here,
Yeah.
and you got like the Cybertruck angle.
Yeah.
To me, it looks like the back of a Cybertruck. It's got like this black plastic on the back of the Cybertruck on the rear bumper near the tailgate, and it looks like stainless steel to me. Maybe it could be plastic. What have other people been saying today about
I
it?
have not followed it at all. I had so many other things going on today. I didn't follow up on it. So, but in fact, one of the reasons I didn't is because when I looked at it, it just didn't look like anything to me.
Yeah, so I think it's gonna. I'm excited because like Elon slipped when he talked about a cyber cab,
Yeah, yeah,
and so I've been hoping that Tesla make a cyber car.
yeah, yeah.
So if they did it with, if they had some elements, maybe not all,
Right.
but some elements of a Cybertruck in the cyber cab, I think that would be cool.
Well,
So
it would look.
this gets me excited.
You can say, well, of course, Elon would say because it needs to look like the future, right?
That's right.
If it's going to be the most futuristic thing out there, it needs to look like the future.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, see, now we've made some real good progress there. We're thinking that we could maybe get to unsupervised by the end of the year. We're thinking that maybe it gets rolled out just like they would roll out any other level of full self-driving. And then if they got good results from the employees and good results from the level 1 people, they could potentially roll it out widely. And if they were still getting good results, that might be, maybe they need to go through those steps to confirm that it's okay to start the cyber cab level effort, or the overall the robotaxi.
Yeah. Do you think it'd be good to speculate a little about the event? Like, what do you think is realistic about the event? What's a crazy thing you'd love to see happen?
This crazy thing I'd love to see happen. Well, I'd love to have one more thing. And I'd love that one more thing to be another vehicle, and that could either be the or the cybercab version of the unboxed vehicle. It could be the 2.5, the one that isn't fully unboxed. Maybe that's going to be the one more thing, or it could even be the the Juniper, which I'm very excited about the Juniper because I just think that will immediately generate a lot of sales.
Yeah, so I think it would be, I think we need to see the app.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
We need to see the app, and that would be good for consumers to see it. I think it would be good to begin to set some consumer expectations for what prices might be like.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that'd be exciting if they could share some pricing that would get consumers excited. So, where Uber and Lyft, they tend to start at about $2 a mile for a trip. If they could say, well, this is going to be, it'll be either $2 a mile or be $1.50 a mile. That might be interesting if they were going to undercut Uber and Lyft, to go ahead and share that. Yeah, I think it would be good to unveil the 2.5 model, so the compact hatchback. And I think the reason why you do it, because you always worry about Osborning other cars. Like if people are in the market for a Y, but they really don't need a car that big. It's not huge, but it is nice and roomy. It is roomier than a lot of cars.
Yeah.
But we're going to start seeing around on roads soon. Tesla is going to need to start testing it out.
Right.
So I think because of that, they might just go ahead and unveil it.
Well, if you've heard my other theory, I don't think there'll be any Osborne effect anyway, because the entrepreneurs are going to start buying up all of the Teslas, all the used ones, all the new ones. They're going to start a huge run on Teslas because entrepreneurs who want to have a fleet of robotaxis are going to start buying everything they can buy before the prices go up. So I'm not sure we'll have an Osborning effect because there's a massive market. And I know, as somebody who has started over 40 companies, if I was 10 years younger, I would probably be buying them up right now. I wouldn't wait.
It's tempting to look at that used Tesla that might have 40,000 miles, still got a ton of time on the battery warranty, and generally the batteries last past warranty.
Right.
So like $25,000 for a lot of these. You add FSD, you can roll it into a loan. If you start buying a bunch of them, you can do like 10 of them before they'll like stop giving you loans. Like if you start running them and renting them out on Turo and whatever else.
Right.
So you could roll that into a loan, and it's an interesting investment. I did some napkin math on it, and I felt like that the potential return on running it as a robotaxi would be around like it's a 40% rate of return.
Okay.
So per year,
right,
on your investment.
Right.
So you wouldn't be able to, like, you can't run it right away, and we're not sure about the profitability, but looking at 50 cents a mile of profit, there's some definite juice to squeeze there.
And like with any other investment, especially in a new concept, you don't know what the uptake's going to be by the consumer. You don't know how many miles you're going to be able to get. You don't know how many robotaxis will be out there day one compared to how many people are looking to take rides. And so there'll be a lot of feedback coming on X probably. There'll probably be an entire spaces devoted to how people are doing in terms of their investment in robotaxis. But, people have talked about it being something where you might be able to make $40,000 a year off your vehicle, just putting it out for rent. I have done a lot of Turo with a couple of my vehicles, and Turo is still kind of a pain in the butt because
Yes.
you've got to take it to the person, or they've got to come get it, and then you got to go around the car and make sure it's
Do 18 pictures.
18 pictures, and make sure that this person's not going to destroy your car. And so there is still a transactional thing going on that takes you away from whatever else you're doing. It still was a very good deal. It was still a very good thing to rent out a used car on Turo. But this would be like, by comparison, almost no work.
Yeah.
And probably substantially more income from the product.
Yeah. So this is not investment advice. What Randy's sharing is that, there would be work involved. I've seen with 12.5, it's still curbing the vehicle. So there's still poorly designed intersections that have these curves that are just sticking out, and the Tesla just not quite seeing them.
Yep.
Or getting around them. So you're going to have things like that are a bit of a pain in the butt. So like there'll be some work involved, but I think it's an interesting concept. I just don't think my wife would go for it.
We have decided that when we get our Cybertruck, we'll put the Model Y out into the environment. Now, if the Model Y goes out and does really well, even at my advanced age, I might feel like buying another one. If I'm seeing that good of a return as expected, I could imagine getting at least a couple, 3 of them. But I'll have once we get the Cybertruck, we'll have one that will be basically free for us to put it out and see how it works out. So of course, one of the things people would love to see on 1010 would be a date, an expected date for robotaxis to go out. And I would guess if they did this, they would make it, at least probably 3 to 6 months out from the 1010 date. So they have some flexibility there to make sure they get it all right.
Yeah, my expectation is toward the end of next year.
Okay. Wow.
Elon talked about some models in early 2025. So maybe we see the compact hatchback before the robotaxi, but we know Tesla at least has one prototype for the robotaxi or the cybercab. It's probably going to be a bunch more that they have ready for 1010. It'd be a big hit if they were able to give a bunch of people rides and not just like one person.
Sure.
So
when you say next year, are you talking about cybercab, the fitted out?
Yeah.
Okay, not robotaxi turning over the Airbnb part of it to the owners.
I think we could see that too. Yeah, I think
or sooner.
I think the latest we see unsupervised FSD is next summer. That's my opinion of the latest. So I don't see why they couldn't start, letting Tesla owners, run their cars in the network, after that. And in my opinion, I just have a high degree of certainty it'll be before the end of next year.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm thinking sooner.
I know like some people are skeptical. Randy's definitely generally very bullish. Earlier the better, but like 12.5 is that good. People need to experience it. Yes, there'd be some preferential, things you may not like, but it drives like a chauffeur.
Yeah.
And that's what you need a taxi to do.
The other thing that I talked with, I think it was Nick the other night, was that it could also the initial version could have certain kinds of limitations and a little bit more supervision from the home office. In other words, you could have, maybe it doesn't go into shopping centers in the early days. Maybe there are off-road situations, really bad country roads that it doesn't go on for some reason because they're not marked well or something. So, I mean, that happens with when you rent cars anyway. They won't go to certain places. And
Yeah,
so,
when you do a ride share, you're not going into a parking garage.
yeah, exactly.
You're being dropped off at the
Off
front
at the
entrance
parking.
or a side entrance, that kind of thing. They
Right,
don't like drive you to the middle of a parking garage and then the car can get lost in there somehow.
right.
So like, that makes sense to me. Yeah.
And the other thing could be that the what would you call it, the dispatch, that there would be, a center where people are able to be immediately, I mean, even before a problem happens, because the computer will be able to see things that might be developing even before the human knows, even before the people in the car know that there's something developing that could be a problem. The computer immediately lets the supervisor, if you will, the external supervisor, know that there's a problem. That person could come into the environment and either alert people and or take over.
Yeah, that makes sense to have a team of people that could do that.
Yeah, and so I think that could help you to be on the road sooner, to be putting it out as a robotaxi sooner than if you with those kind of
Yeah.
efforts.
I know Elon wouldn't like that though. Like that's a solution that doesn't scale. So
I,
it's rumored that the cruise, I think this is the cruise,
yeah,
that had like 1.5 drivers per
right,
car
right.
and was experiencing some kind of intervention every 5 miles where they'd
And,
have to do some kind of manual driving,
and
which
Brian
is
Wong,
bad.
and
Like that's
Brian
real bad.
Brian Wong has apparently found some evidence that the Chinese ones that are cyber cabs are about 3 people per one vehicle. But I'm not talking about, not, I'm sorry, not 3 per vehicle. I'm sorry, the opposite.
Oh,
One person is supervising 3.
3. Okay, yeah.
But I'm not talking about that kind of situation. I'm talking about where they would not be paying any attention to the car unless the car had an alert, and they would only
Yeah.
come on when there was alert. So you wouldn't be talking about a lot of folks. And I think that, quite frankly, I think that should happen anyway. I think you're going to want that for odd situations where, just like people have the thing on Cadillac, forget what that thing is called, where they can call in because somebody's hurt.
OnStar.
Yeah, somebody's hurt. Somebody's, having a medical emergency, whatever reason. You want to have some kind, I think you want to have that ability to get in touch with a human as an ongoing part of the solution.
Cool.
All right. Well, listen, there was something very, very weird, because weird is the new word. Everything's
It is the new word.
and I don't understand,
I'm
because
weird. You're weird. We're all weird.
I've always considered if somebody called me weird, that was a compliment. I mean, I don't know anything about, wearing weird shirts or, I don't know what they're even talking about. Anyway, okay. So what was weird today was the market. I mean, it's been a little unusual all week, but I think I've been able to call it. I've been able to say, okay, this is what happened today. Okay, this is what happened yesterday. We had this Japanese yen carry trade. Okay, all right, we get that. Okay, we had this news come out on Friday with jobs, or on Thursday with the S&P and the services index, and the on Monday with the services on Monday, manufacturing on Thursday, and you can kind of say, okay, they came out, and you can see the chart moving about that time. What do you think about today? I have no idea.
So one of our portfolio companies is Lilly, and
Okay.
Lilly had really good earnings.
Really good. Yes.
They just blew it out.
Yep.
So let me share something that was sent to me about Lilly. So Monjaro sales in the second quarter were 3.1 billion versus 2.3 billion estimated. So they were past estimates by 40%.
Yeah, holy mackerel.
And Zepbound, which is the same chemical, was 50% higher than estimated. So 1.2 billion versus 800 million estimates. So they blew it out. Lilly had a really positive reaction.
Yeah.
And so then Jeff Lutz has a theory on what happened next. Is
Okay.
people came to their senses and remembered that the earnings of the S&P 500 are certainly, they're influenced by the economy, but they are not the economy.
Okay.
They are not the economy.
Okay.
So, then we saw Nvidia was up big.
Yeah.
Nvidia hasn't reported earnings yet, but reports later this month.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to have a massive beat on earnings. So what Jeff Lutz was saying was that people came to their senses and began to focus more on earnings. I I I I think there's still this risk that the market isn't going to react well if when we get news that we're in a recession.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's this big excuse late last week. You probably talked about Japan carry trade
Yes. Yes.
and that unwinding. And that was the big excuse why the market was down Thursday, Friday, Monday. But, in my opinion, it was also people beginning to take the potential for a recession more seriously. So what do you think about all that, Randy?
I think you're absolutely 100% right. And so again, I would have called it Thursday. The manufacturing numbers were terrible, and you could see the stock market drop right after those numbers came out. Just boom, right there. So and they were really terrible. And the forward, what do you want to call it? The expectations for the next 6 months were negative, not good. So that's what I saw on Thursday, and I didn't know anything about the carry trade. And then Friday we heard from Cathie, and Cathie talked about the carry trade on Friday night, Friday night. And then on Monday, then on Friday, of course, we also had the job numbers, which were not as expected. They were as I expected, but nobody else was saying that we were going to get 4.2. And so then we had the carry trade really hit, I think, on Monday. I think that was when that actually impacted, because I think there was an awful lot of other people that had no clue what that was. I'd never heard of it before at all. I had no idea that it existed until that day, or that it was $20 trillion or at least $15 trillion that was involved in it. So that was pretty exciting. And so I think
also known as a lot of money.
Also known as a lot of money in almost anybody's parlance. So anyway,
so a short version of what the carry trade is people would borrow money in Japan because rates are so low in Japan,
zero,
and then they would like turn around and buy U.S. stocks with it.
Yes, exactly.
Or other risky assets.
Yes.
So that's a short version of it, and they were forced to unwind.
Right. Because they raised the rate. Yeah, they raised the rate in Japan, but only by a quarter point too. And so that had a huge impact, or at least it appeared to. Well, then Japan on Wednesday says, "Oh, never mind. We're gonna cool it for now. We're not gonna raise it anymore. We were gonna, but we're not going to now." And so everybody kind of relaxed a little bit. But then overall, I thought yesterday more what Jeff said, what you said, what you're saying. I thought, okay, people are starting to get it, because it's just, I'm having a hard time finding this good news in the economy, except for the services. And yet we've got Airbnb coming out today. They talked about the overall travel industry lowering prices. Lowering prices is not usually a good thing. Airbnb said they gave their guidance. Their guidance was not good for the next 6 months. And I'm sitting here, okay, where's the services going to be holding up over these next 6 months, why are we getting this so-called belief that services are going to be the thing that keeps the economy going? So then this morning it was like, we get a data point, one stupid data point, which wasn't even that good because the continuing unemployed numbers was up a lot, the ones that are out for 2 or more weeks. And so I'm going, okay, well, when I saw him, that's a nothing burger. I thought that was going to be zero impact. The market goes nuts on the upside, but what also happened simultaneously was the bonds went back to 4%, the 10-year.
Yeah.
Okay, why did the bond go back to 4%? Well, they had a terrible auction yesterday. Now, did they have a terrible, actually today and yesterday, they had another terrible auction today, but that's so late in the session that didn't impact, but the
Let me translate. So the government goes out to the market periodically and sells bonds. And when they sell bonds, the lower the price the government gets, the higher the interest rate of the bond. So when they have a bad auction, they're just having trouble finding enough or the right buyers in that specific auction on that day.
Right.
Doesn't necessarily mean something's wrong, but there are some lumpy auctions. So that's what Randy's talking about here.
Yeah, so Tuesday's auction went okay. That was on the 2-year, 3-month rather, 3-month. And then yesterday's on the 10-year was terrible, and today's on the 30-year. They gave it an F. The analysts gave it an F in terms of the miss. So that's saying that there's not enough folks that want to buy these bonds right now, at least at those prices. So the bond market went back up to 4. Now, if that holds, if we sit here at 4 for the next few days, one would have to speculate that some of the people that are not buying bonds right now think maybe the Fed won't raise after all. I'm sorry, lower after all in September. And that would be a real problem for the market.
Yeah. I think based off of what Jay Powell said last week, I think they're thinking about lowering rates in September. So I'd have confidence that they would lower, maybe they don't lower by 50 basis points. I think the market's hoping that it's at least 50 basis points. Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah. So the service economy is what matters in the U.S. But, there are some things that Randy and I are concerned about. Unemployment's blowing up in a bad way. And you have like the 2 largest consumer purchase areas, home is like your biggest purchase, and an auto. Home and autos are not doing good. Travel's not doing good. So, things are looking soft, and the consumer credit seems to be tapped out. Delinquencies with credit card debt are high. Delinquencies with auto loans are high. So, these are things we're concerned about. I think the media has been talking about recession for some time. So even though they weren't harping as much on the idea on Monday, they were talking about the carry trade. I think the public knows about recession, so maybe the public doesn't have much of a reaction if it's actually acknowledged we're in a recession.
Possible. I mean, again, I don't mind recessions. I certainly minded it a lot more when I had 100 employees. Then I really minded. But as an entrepreneur who only has 2 employees in the Philippines, they don't cost me very much. It's a lot easier to deal with a recession. But we also had the SAM rule violated.
Yeah.
And that's the rule where, if unemployment goes up at a certain rate over 3 months, that's evidence of recession. And now it's 100%.
In the past.
100%, yes. And
This,
she,
this,
but the gal who's it's named after said, well, maybe this time it's not actually true because of all of the immigration. Maybe it's throwing my numbers off. But right now we also have the 10-year and the 2-year at 3 basis points off right now.
yeah, uninverted, and historically when it's uninverted, that's been like the start of a recession.
Right. Or you're already in it when it
Yeah.
reinverts. Yeah. So you're very close to reinverting at this point, only 3 basis points away. So this is there's an awful, and then commodities down, oil down, natural gas down. I mean, this is nothing. There's nothing. I'm trying to find that silver lining. That
So here's some positive news
okay,
that we haven't
okay.
talked about, and I know we're going a little long
Oh no, it's fine. Fine.
this week. Um, Ukraine has made a massive inroad in actually attacking Russian territory,
Yeah.
and I think this is generally a positive thing. I know people worry about Russia using nukes and all this stuff.
Right.
People got all worried with that, but like Russia's not going to use nukes. The U.S. would destroy Russia militarily if they started using battlefield nukes. It's not going to happen. But Ukraine has entered Russia, and Russia is totally unprepared. And this is gonna, I believe, it's gonna set the stage for potential peace negotiations. Ukraine's going to be able to really hamper Russia's war effort. So I think Russia's going to end up having to back off in Ukraine, and getting this all resolved, I think, is a big positive.
This would not be a very big positive for the potential election outcome in November. For you and I, at least. Maybe some people would think it was a good thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So
yeah, okay.
Why do you think Ukraine doing well would be bad for the election?
If Ukraine got solved with the current administration, then that would help Kamala. Have I lost you entirely this time? I think I have. While we wait for, I wonder if there was an electrical problem. Let's take a look at the after hours. We have got Tesla up $1.76 in the after hours after being up $7 today. Let's look at the rest of we talked about the bonds already. Oh, whoops, here we go. Going to get them back. And so, gotcha.
My car fell asleep, even though I've been trying to like keep.
Oh, you've been trying to keep it awake. Yeah. Probably too much no-dose or no, the opposite. Whatever the sleeping pills are.
Too much magnesium.
That's it. Yeah. So anyway, that's why, because I think Kamala could end up getting credit for a settlement there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, whoever gets credit, I don't really care. I just would like to see an end to it where Ukraine gets their lands back.
Sure.
That they get their people back. Russia forcibly deported a ton of people from Ukraine to Russia, taking children away from families, all kinds of stuff. And these people they don't have anything, and they're basically like almost living in servitude in Russia. It's just terrible.
Right.
So I would love to see an end to this, and so this whole action by Ukraine may fast forward us toward something.
Yeah, and that would probably be, the market would probably like that. It would certainly probably give it a couple of days of positive. Now the oil market has not done anything about that. So the oils are, almost unchanged the last couple of days. So
Yeah, at first oil went up because I was worried about, Russia just getting disrupted. Russia is one of the third largest oil producers.
right,
But then it came back down. Yeah.
right.
So I'm gonna hop now, but sorry about the disruption.
It's perfectly okay. This is almost live, folks. This is,
And we're looking forward to 1010.
yeah.
We're hoping that everybody gets 12.5 soon, including hardware 3 cars. I got an update for my Cybertruck, so I was excited I might get 12 FSD for the first time, but not yet.
Okay.
Matt, I don't know what kind of math Matt Smith did to get this. I work with him at Rebellionaire.
Yes.
He's saying that he thinks he'll be by the end of September that we get like 12.5 for hardware 3. This is the whole Elon time. Elon said it was going to be
I see. That's
by today, so I think he was multiplying it by 5 or something like that.
And speaking of Rebellionaire, I guess many of your Rebellionaire clients are really happy about Eli Lilly today.
We don't own it as a high conviction name.
Oh, I
so,
see.
For a lot of Rebellionaires, many of them are like almost all in Tesla, and this is their decision. This is how they come to us.
Right.
So we add some small slivers and a couple high conviction names, and Lilly doesn't happen to be one of them.
Okay.
But there are some that want a little more diversified, be more diversified. They might be 50% in Tesla or 30%, and a chunk of them do own some Lilly stock. Yeah.
Got it. All right. Okay. And but yeah, another good call though on your part. All right. Okay, I'll let you jump off and we'll finish up with the rest.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye for now. Thank you for being on. Okay, let's take a look then. We were just about to talk about what's going on with the oil. And in fact, the oil is sitting unchanged basically in the pre-market. $76 for Texas and $79 for Brent. And that is a bit up from its bottom a couple of days ago. Natural gas actually up a little bit in the pre-market to $2.15, which is a little higher. It was under $2. We've got gold unchanged basically at 24.63 in the pre-market. Silver unchanged. Copper 0.66 up, still under $4. $3.98. Then you got the dollar up against the yen, 0.2, down against the euro, but barely. Call it unchanged, very close to unchanged. The Bitcoin, I should have asked before he left. Anyway, up 6,749 today. So now that's a big jump. So Bitcoin up 12.3 on the day. Erasing a lot of that huge downturn over the weekend, back up over 60 to 61,609. Crazy. All right, pre-market on the futures. We've got the Dow up 47 or 0.12% after being up, I think, 600 today. S&P up 9.5 or 0.18%. And the NASDAQ outstripping the others up 78 or 0.42%. Now, yesterday, everything was down at the pre-market, and we said, well, probably just continue on until the morning. Well, of course, we got the opposite. So is this pre-market presaging what we're going to see tomorrow? Who knows? We don't know until tomorrow. So I think we've covered all of the different things that we cover. Let me know in the comments below if you think that we're way the heck off on all the stuff about robotaxis and cybercabs and all the rest, or what you think is going to happen. We'd be very interested to hear your comments and thoughts about that. Until tomorrow morning. By the way, we did have a Cern basher earlier today. I'll put that card up right here. Fantastic stuff, all about the safety issues around Cybertruck and around robotaxis, well, around the FSD at least. and just in general about the Tesla products, and quite a few other things as well, quite a few other subject matters that we covered. If you haven't seen that yet, I'll put that card right up above. You can check it out. All right, that's all I got for you. It's been great talking to you.